من بعد ومكنوني.
Le programme suivant sera en anglais.
الناس كالذي بالكاب والنون ما شاء يفعل من بعد ومكنون.
Alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Saddid lisani, nawir janani, safi amani, wazid barai. Welcome viewers to Echo from Touba. Today we're very delighted to have you right now, and also having a guest, Mr. S.Fallou, who has been in this program a while ago, and everybody was happy for his contribution. Today he's back here. We're going to talk about a topic that is truly interesting, because talking about the opportunities we could have with Touba, all the assets coming generated by the Magal and all the other events from our city, our beloved city, founded by Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba Khadim al-Mustafa. Before, we just wish also long life to our Caliph, Sheikh Sidi al-Mukhtar al-Mbaki, wishing also all the works he's doing right now. May Allah finish them well. Also to our Sheikh Murtada ibn Sheikh Abdul Ahad, also many of our friends watching this program, Echo from Touba. You can find our page on Facebook, Echo from Touba page. You can send us your ideas, messages, tell us how we're doing. It's been a year, actually 2 years we've been doing this program, S.Fallou, of a contribution, a window for whoever's around in the diaspora who wants to know, have some information about the city of Touba. The program is an opportunity to exactly do that. Mr. S.Fallou, coming from, who lived in America, we went over there in the University of Louisville in Kentucky, and also had a master in mathematics, industries, engineering, and statistics, who's been present in this country and doing many works, politics and social and economic and many more. He's going to come back to that, inshallah. Mr. S.Fallou, welcome to the program.
I'm glad to be here, Sheikh Muhammad Fadel. Really thankful to be here, part of the program. And just want to say Assalamu alaikum to everyone, to the audience. And as customary, just wishing everyone well. MashaAllah. And starting with our Sheikh, our beloved Sheikh, Sheikh Sidi al-Mukhtar. MashaAllah. Wishing him well, a long life, and success in all his endeavors on behalf of the community. MashaAllah. By the way, Mr. S.Fallou mother also is from the Mbaki family, so he's really part of the organization. The Mbaki family. His father also a former water minister in Senegal called Serigne Samba Yella Diop. If you remember him, someone who was very active in our community, in the Murid community during Sheikh Abdul Had time. We remember that. We're going to come back to that during the conversation, inshallah. We have a city of Touba, S.Fallou, a city of Touba that had a day that is really internationally known called the Magal of Touba, that the Sheikh himself called for the gathering, and that gathering is really on projections though bringing more than 250 billion, nearly 3 billion. That's a lot of money. That asset, are we really taking advantage of that? Thank you for starting with that question. I would start with my answer briefly by saying Alhamdulillah that the Magal came and went. MashaAllah. Because successfully, because I want to say a big mbale to the detractors of the community, starting with Sheikh Mbake Sakho, who are, and people, the scoundrels behind him, who are seeking to remove all legitimacy to the Magal, and to Sheikh Muhammad Fadilu, who instituted, who called the Magal in Touba, and through them really looking to really take away all legitimacy, social, religious legitimacy to the family of the Sheikh. And so every time there is a Magal and it goes by, we say Alhamdulillah, and we look at them and say, you know what, you could keep on hating, you will die hating, because the Magal is here to stay, inshallah. To the Salafis who says that it is bid'ah, it's a Jamaat. And in its simplest form, it's a Jamaat Muslims who are gathering gathering to thank Allah. And that was the injunction, the ndigal of the Sheikh.
And most of those people, by the way, they celebrate, birthday of their children, their family,
Absolutely,
wives.
Absolutely, absolutely. The hypocrisy is just tremendous. We won't waste time with them. We just we just say hello to them and tell them that we're here to stay by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so the Magal came and went by. We have to remember those who passed away while traveling to the Magal.
The accidents.
Exactly, the accidents.
There were many this year.
There were many, and again, we really want to call onto the state.
Absolutely.
To start doing their job when it comes to the transport. To widen the roads and put the military, because when you have 3 million people actually traveling, converging to one place, I think it calls...
I remember during Juf time in Senghor, people used to stations, you used to see the military all along the road.
Absolutely.
But I don't see those dispositions anymore.
Well, in some cases, for example, Magal Porohan last year, there were gendarmes, throughout, but their presence is really reactive. It's not active at all. So you don't have the policing, the active policing mechanism in place to prevent things. I mean, they really, as they say in French, exactly, and they react only after something bad has happened. And so we would really call upon the state to have a different, to have a different system of intervening and
if you say over 45 deaths, though,
absolutely, it's too much.
It's
one
nothing
death
to minimize.
One death is just too many.
Too many,
exactly. And we, looking at the Magal, and again, we have to look at our community. It was an opportunity to cement the community, as Sheikh Muhammad Fadl did in the beginning. He called on everyone to converge in Touba to see where the hadiyah is going in the construction of the mosque. And also for people to really network. You've been in America. I mean, you've seen people in different communities getting together, be it a potluck, be it a business roundtable, where they network, get to know one another. This is an opportunity. It's a social opportunity as well, because Senegalese who are in the diaspora tend to come back and see one another. I mean, people who are families, I know families, part of them they're in Europe, part of them they're in America, but during the Magal, it's the opportunity for them to converge into Touba and see one another. Their kids, get to know one another and so on. So the Magal has different consequences, welcome consequences onto families, but the spiritual aspect of the Magal, which is really the core of it, is very well alive. You see a lot of people returning to the orthodoxy, recitals of Quran, of the Qasidas and so on.
Well, presided this year by Serigne Muntakha and Serigne Hamza of Serigne Shoaib. That was a beautiful scene, though, by the vicinity of the mosque. And
it was a welcome, I wouldn't say addition, but for the first time, I mean, the cameras and the lights were shone onto them. And so people get to realize that the Magal is not just about eating and socializing, but it's, there is a spiritual purpose to it, and which is to thank Allah. And that's exactly, it's getting, that aspect is getting to be center stage, which is its rightful place, and we have to be thankful for that. We can do better notes. We have to, of course, look at some missed opportunities, definitely. You talked about the amount of money that this study actually determined, 250 billion CFAs, in terms of the impact on the economy. I would venture to say, being a statistician myself, the impact is much more than that. Because, of course, it's the first year of this study. Very smart people were behind this study. I read the methodology, the paper. It's very sound. But Senegal being the country that it is, with 80% people who are not schooled, educated in the school system, we have to take sometimes some of those numbers as being really downplayed. I would venture to say that the impact is much more than that. At the same time, we have to...
You'll double the money or you'll triple?
It's hard to say. As a statistician, you know, you really have to get a handle on the numbers. You know, looking at the sample that you know, I cringe a little bit on the size of the sample, but it's something that is a study that we need to build upon in the future. And I think
which company did the survey though at first place?
Actually, it's the University of Bombay.
Okay.
Yeah, the University of Bombay with input from people from Montreal, from Europe. Mubarak Law was, you know, because he's the one who really.
Economist, though,
yep, he initiated the study. Yep,
Mashallah.
and he was actively involved this time around. So it's a very welcome development. But I think we have to iterate.
Was last year or how long ago?
No, it was this year. It was this year.
Okay.
And Mubarak did his studies some years ago. But this study was much more formal. They had students from the University of Bombay actually going around Touba and asking questions and so on. But I think that we need to iterate over at least, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times. But stress the methodology and so on, and get more people to actually do a peer review. Absolutely. It's a very welcome development. And I commend them and I thank them. And I pray for them to be much more successful.
That will just bring us to the statue of Touba, the position of Touba, because it used to be a rural area, and then finally, right now, is communal. It's kind of a borough or a county. The statue of what can you tell us about it? Is it okay for Touba to just be like have a mayor on top of it covering the whole city, or this is another way of really making things better?
Absolutely. The current system is a straitjacket for Touba. Yes, this current system is obsolete. The current system is preventing Touba to really rise to its level, both administratively, both economically, both also socially.
Can you describe the present system right now for our viewers to understand how Touba is right now in terms of administrative position?
I like to compare Touba with the city of Thiès. Okay, Touba is, in terms of demographics and area, at least twice the size of the city of Thiès. And Thiès has 4 mayors. 4 mayors. Touba has only 1 mayor. Okay, and it's not the number, but it's the administrative areas that have been subdivided, been divided. The Thiès actually has, I think, 2 communes, three communes, and then you have the mayor. So the mayor, Talasila, has other mayors that he's working with to make sure those people actually, the mayors are closer to the population. Touba, we don't have any such a thing.
There's just 1 mayor.
Just 1 mayor. And the mayor is an absentee mayor. Let's be honest about it. Touba doesn't have a mayor.
Is he elected or?
No, well, officially he's elected. But in truth, he's not elected because there was only 1 list. So the people of Touba, people say that, you know, that's part of the criticism that we don't have real democracy in Touba. But we have a system that was laid before that is much better than the Senegalese democracy. And because when people say democracy, an election doesn't make a democracy. It's the choice of the people. It's the legitimacy of the people that were chosen and presented.
And also they put the religious convictions on top of the economic and social. You know. Well,
there is an underlying. It's an underlying part of it, but Touba has a very, very important meritocracy system that people tend to overlook. I mean, if you look at people, the mayors, and you know, they're not part of the family. Just people. We have hope. People have hope in them, and when they are, when they prove their mettle, they rise to station. I like to point the case of Serigne Moussaka and Serigne Baye Jaxate. They're not Mbake.
They poets though.
But exactly. They proved their mettle as poets. And they are still highly celebrated to this day because it's a meritocracy. If you prove your mettle in terms of works, in terms of community engagement and you get paid. Absolutely. So we have to get back to that system in the political arena. Now let's not forget that Touba is really in its infancy when it comes to politics and administrative manner. Because for a long time, Touba was really overlooked. The state didn't really pay attention to
after
Touba.
Independence or after the departure of the Sheikh?
Before, because let's say the politics of the predators, I'll call them, people call them colonization, I call it the apartheid. It was an apartheid system. You had the 4 communes. People in the 4 communes were citizens of France. The rest of the country was not citizens of France.
Right.
They were indigents. Absolutely. You had a Frenchman who had the right to just slap you just because he felt disrespected by you.
Right.
He had the right to come and take away your goods.
Right.
That was apartheid system in this country.
Right.
Touba came and was a safe haven for that. So people in Touba, they could live their dignified humanity.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That was that's why I kept saying that Sheikh Mohammed Fadel, your Turondo, actually instituted the first fiscal paradise in the world.
Right.
That was in Touba.
In Touba, absolutely.
Exactly,
Right,
because as a safe haven from the apartheid, the French apartheid system, and under the law of indigena.
So it gives me an idea of how S.Fallou really opened up Touba, and he was his kindness. It was kind of also in political orientation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I never thought of that.
And underlying, I mean, people tend to overlook the dimensionalities
of S.Fallou,
of our leaders.
Mashallah.
They were not just religious leaders. They're social leaders, they're cultural leaders, they're political leaders. And remember, my point was that Touba was the subject of a containment policy by the French. Okay, and there was the apartheid system. They did not want this safe haven where the Senegalese man, the black man, had a shot at a dignified life. They did not want this system to spread around. So the reason
why they exiled the sheikh.
Exactly. Exactly.
And they put in confinement many other sheikh also.
Touba was under confinement. Touba was neglected in terms of investment. People were paying tax because of the fiscality, what they call the fiscality at the door. Every product that you buy in Senegal, you paid a TVA of 18%. Because when it gets to the port of Dakar, whether it's sold or not, you pay 18%. So we all pay. We part of Senegal.
Right.
Yet, we'd never get to benefit from the public investment. And when the city started growing, by this neglect and ignorance, we end up inheriting a hybrid system. Okay? Right. We had, before Touba was directly administered by the Khalif.
Right.
Then that power was delegated because the community was getting bigger, the city was getting bigger. The Khalif really, it just didn't make any sense for him to be involved in day-to-day.
Because during S.Fallou and Mustafa, we never heard of right-handed man.
Yep.
After that situation came, this is my right hand, this is my, comme on dit in French, porte-parole.
Porte-parole. Absolutely, because at the time, I mean, when we have to remember, the number of houses in Touba when the train got there was 40.
Wow.
Absolutely.
40 households.
40 households. Touba grew. Touba grew. The rail system didn't get there on behalf of any other purpose but to build the mosque.
MashaAllah.
And then the economic impact of it, Jurbel got to benefit from it, Bakke, and so on. So starting from a religious endeavor, all the untold benefits can be drawn from it.
The fruits.
Absolutely. And that's when people start, for example, criticizing Illa Touba. I look at them and said, you just don't have a clue. You're not thinking system.
Absolutely.
You're thinking just one piece of it and thinking that it's for Touba. No, it's not for Touba. It's for Africa.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's going to get to Futa. It's going to traverse Mali and get to N'Djamena
Just
and
like
all the way to
during
Touba.
the railroad time, I'm sure those people were against it.
Absolutely.
Why are you taking a railroad to a place where there's only 40 households over
But
there?
we paid for it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That was the difference. So coming back again to Touba, the system needs to be modernized. The system has been already, when I say modernized, we really need to go back to originally how it was. Daru Minam, Daru Khudus, Ndindi, Daru Manan, and so on. The decentralization was already done by the Sheikh. Ndam. We need to go back to that. Before, as I said, Touba was 40 households.
Right.
But today, we have Daru Khudus only, 45,000 households.
In Daru Khudus
only? In Daru Khudus only. And if you take the mean number of people in a household, 10 for the region of Jurbel, you get at least 450,000 people in Daru Khudus. That's the city.
Oh.
That's the city in itself. then how can you have one mayor administer Darul Khudus, and you have Darul Minam, you have Darul Minam, and so on.
And so on, right.
So literally, it's just obsolete, it's impossible. We have to get back to the injunction of the Sheikh when he actually told his sons and the Sheikhs to go each a little bit away from the mosque and build their cities. Now, each one of these cities now need to be given the administrative tools to take care of their day-to-day operations. Darul Khudus today, they may not have water problem, but Nindi does.
Absolutely.
Nindi has problem with water.
The new areas that have been earlier, and
Sanchan, and all of that. Sam,
still they're not getting clean water.
They're not getting water. Even unclean water, they don't see it. So it's high time to recognize that this system has reached its limit. And this system was really proposed by the state of Senegal, okay, just to have an intermediary between them and the Khalif.
And the Khalif of Touba.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's high time now to do away with the system. We could draw from, you know, the administrative tool set that we have.
Right.
I mean, Dakar has how many communes?
A lot.
19.
A lot.
Okay.
But
Why
none of them has 45,000 people.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
450,000.
450,000 people.
Right.
And just, I'm sure critics are going to say, well, we overblowing the numbers, but I'll tell them, Senelec has 100,000 subscribers in Touba. 100,000 subscribers.
100,000.
Absolutely. So the numbers that I'm advancing, we may not have a study, but we know from Senelec, this is their base, their subscriber base.
Right.
We know from Tigo. Tigo has about 350,000 subscribers.
Of permanent residents of Touba.
Absolutely, in Touba. Calls that are being made in and out. It's in network.
Right.
So,
a lot of things need to be fixed over there.
Absolutely, but we need to recognize that Touba was a city built on knowledge. Unfortunately, we're not operating on knowledge.
Right. What is holding them from moving forward, getting these proposals? We're going to come to proposal though, because I don't want to mess things up a little bit. But my question will be, like you have a mayor over there representing the people of Touba. The selective method of he's been proposed, I guess by the Caliph over there. How it works in terms of getting a mayor in Touba to have something representing the population?
Well, I call it was a Trojan horse by the state of Senegal. They came to the Caliph during the time of Sheikh Saleh and proposed them a list and saying this is the official list of Touba.
Right.
No competition, no options to the Caliph. The Caliph has options.
Right.
I could tell you.
I remember during one time they even put S.Fallou on top of that list.
On top of that list.
Yeah, I remember that.
Absolutely.
Right.
That was a straight jacket. That people say, but that was a plan by Abdoulaye Wade back then, just to put a straight jacket around Touba for his political gains. But the reality of it is that today, the Caliph, who has many options on the ground, is not being presented with those options. They just come and give him one list, which is arrived to by consensus, supposedly consensus. But I don't agree to that list because I know that Touba deserves a much better mayor than Abdullah Ka, who's not even there. He's an absentee mayor. We don't even have to name names, but the reality of it is that he's not there. We need Darul Minam its own mayor. There are many people, I know so many competent people in Darul Minam. Darul Minam, I'm not talking about Touba.
Right.
Darul Minam itself. Darul Khudus, Ndindi, who could run.
What's holding them from coming up, from showing off?
Because of this system of actually preventing the Caliph from seeing the reality.
That is.
They are putting a veil.
There's no meetings over there. People are not getting together. There's many centers we can get together and then have symposiums and.
It's that system of consensus that they're using really to suppress options for the Caliph.
And it's working though.
It is working. That's why today you see incompetent people at position of power, of executive level in the community. And that's why, for example, at the Magal, we have so many missed opportunities. How come at the end of the Magal, the city, the leftover for the city are refuses, mbalit, as we call it in Wolof, garbage. That's all we have, garbage, diseases, and dust.
Right.
Absolutely. 250 million CFA. Who gets to benefit from that? Transport people. Are they based in Touba? No. Okay.
Phone companies.
It's the state. Phone companies. So the 250 million get to benefit from billions.
Right.
Benefit from mainly the state of Senegal rather than. So if I were the state of Senegal, I would ask for many more Magals to come. Because
Right.
Take 250 billion, 18% of that. Take 18%. That's at least you get about 50 billion
billions,
into the coffers of the state.
Oh boy.
Are they investing in one well, for Touba?
1 penny on that.
Absolutely not.
Well, it's sad though, but always a pleasure though. We're having S.Fallou Diop once again, who went to Louisville in Kentucky University and master in mathematics, industrial engineering and statistics. Always a pleasure to have him because I'm kind of being hard with him though, because to get much more knowledge, if you have a guest like him, we'll always take advantage of it. We talk about Touba, of course, with the assets, all the money coming out during Magals and the opportunities is really our city. The only one we have though, because our Sheikh, what he did for us, what Touba represents really for this community, we need someone like him and many others who should stand up and really make some changes. But when it comes to mayor, when it comes to a city, in order for the mayor to lay his plan, you have to get the money, you have to have money. And how do they collect the budget, the Touba's budget? Do you know something about it?
Yes, I mean, just as everywhere in Senegal, I mean, collecting taxes in Touba is a very tough business.
Is it not another problem then?
It is because the people, especially the business communities that are benefiting mainly from Touba, are not contributing their share. And
because I heard there's many rich, I mean, overly rich people over there.
The busiest bank in Senegal is Microcred, and the busiest agency in Senegal is Touba. I know from, and this might be, I'm not going to give some names, but I know a bank regularly. It's the agency, it's the office, the Touba office that beats throughout the CEDEAO, even agencies in Nigeria, they beat them in terms of deposit.
From Touba?
From Touba.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely. You might surmise the name, that bank from,
right.
It's EcoBank.
EcoBank.
Absolutely.
Right.
And the reality of it is that we have a strong financial base, but it's not organized. Because people are not helping the Caliph see the options. The Caliph has to be presented with options.
Right.
Okay? And there has to be a staff who's going to help the Caliph make the right decision. This is the tradition of the community. If you go back to the times of Sheikh Mustafa, even to the time of the Sheikh in Njarem, when they were wanting to introduce the French school system, it was a shura around it.
Right.
During this, the time of Sheikh Mustafa.
by Serigne Mbacké Bousso, by the way.
Exactly. It was not the Sheikh. I'm glad you mentioned that. During the time of Serigne Modou Mustafa, he used to say that if he made a mistake, that means that it's the whole crowd who made a mistake. Absolutely. Because he used to consult. Today, how are we consulting? Are we presenting the Caliph options? No. Ideally, I think we could have many groups, people in Touba who could come and compete in the realms of ideas and make proposal to the Caliph, and the Caliph would make a choice. But nobody is making proposal, giving options to the Caliph. People will come and just use their lobby power, their proximity with those around the Caliph, and just to say that this would be best for the community. With no studies,
no consulting,
nothing. And it usually is just to serve their own interest. And this is the state of matters today. And we have to move beyond it, because this community is growing by leaps and bounds. And I'm not talking about even new additions, but people who were born Murid in traditional Murid families are having a new sense of engagement and a new need to be involved in the community. And you cannot channel them through these traditional means that they exactly and because it's obvious to many, the nepotism, the corruption, and we have to say it. We have to give options to the Caliph. The Caliph will be able to say, we can reorganize the trade of peanuts in Touba. Why do we have the trade of peanuts clogging Garbundao in Touba? We could organize it, and it could be part of a special economic zone.
Clog in a very informal way, though.
In very informal way. You cannot move around. There is no statistics being collected.
Nothing.
No tax being collected. And all they do is just leave garbage for the city.
Right.
Absolutely.
So if the population itself is not very conscious in terms of your duty to a city, paying your taxes, helping, because the money you're giving to the mayor, coming back in terms of building hospitals, roads.
Investments.
If the population is conscious, not conscious, do that, or is it then the mayor responsible for any action that is not being taken over there?
I would say the mayor is 100% responsible, because he took.
That'll be very difficult to explain then.
He took the responsibility to be the mayor.
I thought he was proposed to be.
But then he accepted it. Nobody forced him here.
But he's a Taliban of
Nobody forced him to.
I thought
No, because if my sheikh asked me to put on my head something that I can't stand, I will tell him, yeah, sheikh, please.
But if it's a real sheikh and Taliban relationship, then you're gonna even ask you to go in the wildfire.
Then you have to think intelligently. Then,
right?
Okay. Then what this current mayor should have done is to say that, you know what, this work order is a little bit too much for me. Why? How can we subdivide it? I cannot do this all by myself. I need some help. And the sheikh won't refuse that help for him, because he tasked him to be successful. So it would be a sign of humility and sign of intelligence on his part to call for help.
Right.
No, call for help.
Right, right.
Okay. I won't tell him, say no, I can't do it. But at least if you want to
bring
take
the right
that honor,
people with me.
absolutely, go get the right.
That'll be easy though.
And if he
how long he's been mayor, by the way?
He was I would say close to 10 years now.
10 years. Whoa,
absolutely, because he was president of the rural community.
If you give him a rate though, in terms of percentage, in terms of grade,
0%.
0%?
Absolutely, because he's an absentee mayor. He's not there in front of.
You mean 0% for mayor after 10 years?
After 10 years, because
that's
in front of
that's hard over there, judgment.
To this day,
right?
When it rains, in front of the mayor's office.
By the mosque, even by the mosque.
Absolutely.
I've seen that.
To me, the mosque and the mayor's office is just indicative that he's not doing his job. Absolutely. So 0. On a scale to 1,000, 0.
That's sad.
Yep. He's not there. He's not the mayor. He just holds the title, and then he's clogging up the system.
Is any proposal though? There's any changes in the way, any light in the tunnel, or?
Unfortunately, Touba is being run in a very elitist manner. Nobody gets involved in the decision-making process.
No changes anytime soon?
No, we don't know. All of a sudden, you see a road being built. No consulting the population. Consulting the shura is a tradition of Touba. Are they consulting the population? No, they just announce. And it's a problem. This system is obsolete. We have to move away from it by setting up Daru Khudos as its own mayorship. Daru Minam, Daru Manan, Ndindi, Alia, and so on, because they are cities in their own right. Touba Mosque, they are cities in their own right.
I hope your message is, dropping in good ear, though, because this is something really that needs to be. There's a parallel organization, though, in terms of the water organization that is run by a sheikh and a friend and a parent of yours, Sarin Sheikh Aliou of Daru Khudos. It's called Maur Rahma, named after, as a beautiful poem written by the sheikh, Ainu Rahma, which is in just well behind the mosque of Touba. It's been a while, though. Touba, the water problem of Touba has been every year the same problem is keep coming, and Mr. S.Fallou Diop's father used to be the Minister of Water in Senegal. Even the Sheikh running the water organization of Touba, Maur Rahmani, used to be in the office of Serigne S.Fallou Diop father. So Serigne S.Fallou should have some knowledge about how the water system runs in Touba. Can you describe it? What happened with Ain Rahmati? How the water is going over there?
Well, first of all, I mean, this is I have to do a disclaimer, because even though my father was a minister of water resources, I cannot speak authoritatively, because I'm not I wasn't trained in that field.
Right.
But as a citizen of Touba, I have my say in it. We have to first of all commend and thank S.Fallou for the initiative because when he started it, it was not obvious that he would be successful, and it was really tough. At that time, you did not have access to drinking water in Touba. All the water that people were drinking was not suitable for drinking. So he just bootstrapped the entire system. And today, population, they have access to that water. And it's been successful because he gave a value proposition to the people of Touba, and people are going and buying that water. So we have to thank him and wish him more success.
The water he's treating is not free though.
It's not free.
Oh, okay.
It's not free. That was my, actually, the point I was going to make. There are plenty of room to improvement. The water is very expensive. I think the cubic meter of SDA costs about 3,000 CFA in Bakke. The cubic meter of drinking water in Touba costs 10,000 CFA.
Sure with this number?
Absolutely. I mean, that's
ridiculous.
Absolutely. The 10 gallon, I think the 10 liter bottle costs about 100 CFA, multiplied by 1,000. That's right there, 10,000.
How's the water is distributed though? How they do the distribution over there?
They have a pretty good system, but that it needs improvement. I mean, at first they have this big jugs of water that they would position in a house, and someone, which is a highly democratic system, someone would actually buy it. They are the distributors of water. They buy the water and then sell it for retail, so that they can make a little bit of money.
They don't have the water on pipes yet?
No, not yet. To my knowledge, not yet.
Right.
But this system now needs to, because they're filtering water. They're taking water from the regular, right? And then they just filter it. They have a system by reverse osmosis and to clean up that water. But then you have health risk during the transport of the water, during the conservation of the water. And you know, I wouldn't...
They don't have the knowledge to...
Well, because you're handing it over to someone, you know, in a neighborhood who's
control.
Exactly. You don't have control. And sometimes when you see like the tractors that are coming in with the cisterns to bring some more water, I cringe because I don't think it's really safe. But so there are plenty of room for improvements, and I would commend the Mau Rahmati organization to invest in that, because if they were put in competition with SDA, SDA would beat them, you know, handily down.
So do they need maybe resources, you know, financing though, in terms of implanting pipes that go all over the city? What do they need? What's stopping them from making it real, you know, modern?
Well, a push hasn't been made. I don't know the reasons why, but the model of actually distributing water in these big jugs positioned at the corner of a house, it's not scalable.
Absolutely.
It's not going to work, because when you're targeting millions of people, I mean, literally, it's not going to work. It's not.
Maybe that's the reason why they're having a meeting by January 15. I heard in the house of Srin Touba in Darumanan. Maybe they're asking people to come up with the. I salute Srin S.Fallou on that, because really he's working so hard to have a result in terms of Mau Rahma. Hopefully by the 15th, some new ideas, some new power, some new financing, investment will come help. I'm sorry. Helps and S.Fallou on that. So the water really is still a problem over there.
Absolutely, and I think Mau Rahmati was a good start, but it needs to be widened, because every murid disciple has a vested interest in water being accessible. If we read the Qasida Matlabul Fawzaini, the words of the Sheikhs in there are, without question, an injunction for us to make water available to the city and its population. Okay, so everyone needs to be involved. This shouldn't be a business of a very few, of a group, and so on. No, it's everyone.
In a very opaque way, people don't understand.
Exactly.
That's really sad, though, because I see when people go on for constructions, they go on for ideas, for new investment. for asking the money is so clear.
Yep.
Everybody hear about you should give out this one, this money, this amount. But when it comes to explanation, people don't go out and then give a legitimate explanation of where the financing went or the work itself. They will come up with the sheikh said this, the sheikh said, and most of the people don't think that way. And if you ask for money, just like S.Fallou used to do,
exactly,
Abdullah used to do, if you ask for the money, tell them where the money goes.
Exactly. And that it just makes social sense because you are undertaking work on behalf of the many.
Right.
When you do that work, you should have upon yourself what the organizational mean, the moral ethics to come back and tell them, hey, this is where your money is going. Not wait even after, but while you're doing the work, this is your money works. And today we have the tools to do so.
Right.
I mean, the accounting packages are out there available. Everything you could put in online, so for people to see what they're doing. And that would be in keeping with the sunnah of Sheikh Muhammad Fadl when he called for the Magal to, and he said, so that the disciple would see where the hadiyah is going.
Went, right.
Absolutely.
Right, to make,
absolutely.
Right.
So it's
and it's been
it's
the
a
Murid
must.
way. Even I heard
it's the Murid way.
Even I heard when they were building the mosque in Jurban in Jarem. Still, if you go to the family who were in charge of the financial investment, they will show you all the receipts of everything they invested over. They still have it in Jurban.
Absolutely.
To gain more, not to lose sometimes. Mr. Fallou, always Fallou Diop again. We are having as a guest today from Senegal, from Touba, of course. One of the sons of our city went to some of the best universities and learned over there with a great knowledge, and Allah knows he can contribute to the advancement of our city. And also, alhamdulillah, his is very conscious about it, and we'll see later on that when we talk about the political views of our guest today. Going a little bit out of the center, if not going out, but going into how Senegal is doing in terms of Senegal rising. There's a new plan from the government by Macky Sall called Senegal Rising that is laid out maybe for 20 years or 30. There's a lot of investments coming. Recently, we've seen an airport being built in Dakar called International Airport of Blaise Diagne. And Senegal Rising, what's your take on this new flux of investment coming to Senegal?
Oh, I welcome it wholeheartedly because maybe I'm speaking for my generation, but during the time of Abdou Diouf and Tanor, I call it Tanor was president effectively. It's my inside joke. But during the time of Abdou Diouf and even the time of Abdoulaye Wade, there were not a clear plan that was laid out there in front of people for people to make their own.
MashaAllah.
And so we have to commend President Macky Sall for doing that.
MashaAllah.
Now, we do have some misgivings in terms of how that plan is being financed. I think borrowing, increasing the debt is just too risky. And recently, when the IMF started raising the red flag, I think I think it's something to be really careful. Right. We should be alarmed. Second of all, also, just the preference for foreign companies to build to undertake all this work. Sector. Absolutely, is just I don't think it's good for the country. It may help. Maybe for them politically to be able to say that, yeah, we did this, but the impact on the economy is just not going to be so good. I think we are missing lots of opportunities to train people because, I mean, the outlook is at least 20 years, 20 or 35 years. It's a generation. You could start training kids right now to be in oil mining industry, construction, and so on, road making, and so on. But just calling and foreign companies to do this work and awarding them contracts without bidding and so on, it's just it's a complete disappointment because it's not a change from what the previous system, what they used to do.
Is it done like because of corruption, or is it just a lack of some kind of
I would say ignorance, number one, because unfortunately the people who are in government today are not quality people. We have to admit it. We gave them their chance, since 2012. I mean, if you see them stumbling and stumbling, at some point we have to just draw the conclusion that there's some incompetent, you know, these people are not quite competent. Second of all, corruption and political maneuvering. We all know that these big contracts are the ways to finance, you know, political activities and make some people rich. And we've seen a lot of contracts being awarded without bidding. To me, it's a red flag.
And there's a lot of organizations who were created though by even Macky Sall to control those type of, to stop those type of.
Have you heard of OFNAC pursuing anyone?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not to my knowledge.
Absolutely. Cour des comptes, have you seen a report? Even the president said that, you know.
I'm holding on to a lot of documents.
Exactly. So it's business as usual. We see cases of people close to the president getting some contracts that are not, I mean, that just make people cringe. You know, we had hopes, you know, for more transparency.
But seeing the new president, though, he's after independence, he was born, he's very ambitious. And if you hear his message, though, and also the investment I've seen in Jamnyadjo area, you know, there's a lot of things coming out. There's a center of Abdou Diouf for conference and stuff. First of all, I'm having a problem, though, with the location itself of that new city. Seeing, you know, Senegal, how huge it is. Should have, to my own opinion, should have been a little away from the city of Dakar. But all this investment, though, being built in terms of by BOT, build, operate, and transfer. And also, even yesterday, I was watching France 24, you know, the French channel. They had problem with the new airport that's supposed to be built by the vicinity of Paris. And if when they gave out the amount of money was that you know that they needed for the construction of the airport, they announced it about 200 billion CFA when I converted to max 250. I was like, wait a second. My airport cost me about 450 billion.
Absolutely.
I heard we're going to be paying 60 every 60 billion every 6 months. So that's 120 a year. Multiplied by 25 years. That's go figure the amount of money.
2 trillion.
So is the BOT system, even you can see that in the highway way of building the peage. Is it for the future generation? Are they thinking, you know, how are we going to pay that money for the future generation?
Well, Chef Adel, we have to recognize one thing. What they're putting in practice is not BOT. BOT, a company or a group of investors come and they undertake to build the infrastructure and operate for a certain period of time. That's not true in this case. The highway, the autoroute avenir,
the government put much more money.
400 billion on loan debt again that we picked up from Agence Française de Développement, World Bank, and so on, and internally, and then we ended up giving it to FH.
That is really confusing to my mind, though. When I heard, you know, knowledgeable like you guys explain that, how come the government put much more money in that operation and winding up having another company running it for this huge amount of money we're paying today by the population?
They only put 60 billion and they're going to run it for 35 years. And that just speaks volume to the corruption and the betrayal. I would say the country was actually betrayed by President Abdoulaye Wade. And Macky Sall just kept going with the same path. Autoroute Ila Touba, initially the Chinese said that they were going to build it on their own funds. And they had studies that showed that the return on investment was 29%. On paper, it looked great and everything because they compared it. They didn't choose it for Touba. A lot of people say that it was built, you know, just to make Touba happy. Nonsense. They compared Dakar Saint-Louis, Dakar Kaolack. Dakar Touba was much more, the ROI was much higher. So, instead of investing now we ended up borrowing money from the Chinese Exim Bank.
So we're having just 10 minutes left, though. I'm going to announce that the line is open. If you guys want to come out with your contribution on 88-628-1907, you can call us and then let us know what you think about the show we're having right now with the exceptional guest today, S.Fallou Diop. Always very happy to have you because knowledge is pouring in. Of course, yeah. You said about the airport again.
Yeah, we're not doing BOT, and we ended up, the state ended up borrowing against the future generation and being mismanaged, as you said.
Right.
The airport in Paris is being Nouakchott built an airport for under 300 billion. And we built this...
Even
Nouakchott.
Ivory Coast also.
Absolutely. Nouakchott.
Less than 300 billion.
Absolutely. And on time. We took 10 years to build this up, and the cost overrun was just...
It's unbelievable.
We just have to say the truth. There's corruption, there's political maneuvering, and corruption. It just served to enrich some people. Unfortunately, those people, most of those people are close to the powers that be and foreign companies.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's sad, though.
It is. And I think those are grounds for high treason in my book.
Well, it's never too late, though, to do better. So we just call on President Saldo to kind of change the plans in terms of how invest and also get the private sector more involved, the population into it. Because there's a lot of new good programs really that's being discovered in the country, and also oil is coming.
Oil is coming.
Oil is coming.
People
The
don't
21st on 2021, the first barrel will come out.
Yep.
And I heard a sound intellectual person who said that there's one well, in terms of the estimation is going to get out, is much more than the whole Gabon estimation. Just one well from Senegal. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money, and the data from the specialized magazines actually are quite positive. Senegal has the potential to be a really a world-class oil and gas producer, especially gas. And I think
the gas costs more than the oil, though. Well, or
in terms of production?
Production, right?
Not really. Not really.
It's
just how to take it out, because if you want to put it into tanker, you have to liquefy it,
right?
Or build a pipeline.
It's more investment.
It's a little bit more, but it's marginally. It's not that big. It's not that big. But we need to reorient our economy, starting with the school system. Kids need to be educated towards
our economic orientation.
Absolutely.
Right.
And for example, Senelec has to change their turbines from using fossil fuels to using gas. I mean, they should do that.
Even security, because the
bus system,
they can pump out. They can say, okay, they're getting 20,000 barrels a day. At the same time, they're getting maybe 40 or 50 barrels. If you don't have a suitable organization that can control that, you're in trouble.
Absolutely. That's why we have to, right now,
there's a lot to be done.
Learn from the example of Singapore and Malaysia. When they had certain opportunities, the state intervened and took some very bright people to America to study oil, gas, and so on, and told them that you're going to come back and you're going to lead these industries. And it's an investment of what? 3 years.
It's time to do it right now.
3 years.
3 years, right.
Absolutely. You take some kids, bright kids in 3 years in Georgetown, or some, you don't even need to bring them in the top universities. Just take them to specialized schools, and there you go. In 3 years, you have the talent pool that will be able to actually control the production and what's being reported.
And I see also in many countries, in Africa, though, especially where there's oil, this problem keep coming up all the time in terms of security and then conflicts. Or are Senegal away from that drama?
Not away, but I don't believe in the malediction. I don't believe.
This is the country of Sheikh Khadim, though.
Absolutely, and plus the thing is that we can learn from it. We can learn from it,
Right.
and by doing what? By actually moving away from this elitist policy making and informing people. People have to know where do you have oil and gas. People start talking about the oil in Kayar. There's no oil in Kayar. There's only gas. The oil is in Rufisque. The oil is in Jurbel. So we have to...
There's no oil in Kayar?
No,
I thought the oil was in Kayar.
Absolutely. No, it's in Kayar.
The gas in Kayar?
The gas is in Kayar. That's
so where do you have the oil right now? In Jurbel?
The oil is right now, the proven, what we found was in Rufisque only. In Jurbel...
in Fatick, I heard, though, by Sangomar?
Yep. No, that's what I call Rufisque.
Right.
I mean, there's Sangomar.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's there's a basin right there on the sea that goes all the way from Rufisque down to Fatick.
Mashallah.
That area. Oil was found there by, I think it's FAR and McCain, and Cain Energy. Now, in Jurbel, on the hinterland, there are possibilities, there are good possibilities there for more oil.
Right.
But in Kayar, it's only gas
Times
that we share with Mauritania.
Times went so fast. I didn't even feel it, Mr. Fallou.
Absolutely.
Because, and we're talking Touba, national and international, quickly, because this is almost over. Donald Trump just recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Yep.
What's your last word on that?
To me, the writing was on the wall. We should learn from Israel. It's a huge diplomatic and religious win for them.
MashaAllah.
They united, they focused, and they executed. We need to, as the Muslim at large, we need to learn from their playbook. We are divided. We don't think together. We don't work together. And unfortunately,
it's sad though for Palestinians resisting for years.
It is.
For they take everything away from them, and everybody's watching away.
As Donald Trump said, he's just officializing what's been on the ground. And who are the biggest allies of Israel after America?
Right.
Saudi Arabia.
That's sad.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, it's going to be, I don't want to get a tweet from Donald Trump though, but it's going to be our last word, inshallah. I'm going to, inshallah, S.Fallou, we're going to have you soon for another program. We're going to talk about politics and many more of that, because really all the topics we cannot fit in a 1 hour program. Inshallah, until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Jërëjëf Serigne Touba. Jërëjëf Lakke Maam Cheikh Ibrahima Fall.
Jërëjëf Serigne Touba.
Thank you, S.Fallou.
Thank you.
Le programme suivant sera en anglais.
ما شاء يفعل من بعد ومكنون ربنا سكر الذي بالكاف والنون ما شاء يفعل من بعد ومكنون.
Le programme suivant sera en anglais.
ربنا سكر الذي بالكاف والنون ما شاء يفعل من بعد ومكنون ربنا سكر الذي بالكاف والنون.
xibaar bu neex lool ci soxna yi bés ni ki tey seen coono jeex na yéen